We made it to Portugal. Hello. Oh my goodness. I am so happy to be sitting out here in Portugal, in my house, at my house, looking at the ocean. I think I will do a tour, maybe on my Patreon. I don't know that I want to do a tour on YouTube. I'm not a travel YouTuber. At the beginning, I started sharing about travel and whatnot. I just found that being a solo female who stays in places for longer amounts of time, I just prefer not doing that, and it just led me to delivering these messages instead, which I feel most aligned with. So today I want to talk about something very deep, very important, very relevant to the light workers, the grid workers, those who came to Earth to help in the shift happening on Earth right now. So if you see Arlo back there, I have Aslan on a leash right now because the yard is fenced in, but I just don't really trust the area by the road because he, being a Kangal, could potentially jump over it. It's pretty tall, but I want to get maybe like an extension thing so that I can feel more comfortable. Right now he's still getting used to like seeing people walk by and everything, and then Duchess is walking around as well, and it's just fine. I'm also a bit like in and out of my these reactions that I get to mold. So the house, I love it. Because I'm so close to the ocean, there has been like little bits of mold, and if you know my story, you know that like mold was a really big part. It was like a catalyst that led me here to where I am today, understanding neuroplasticity, understanding the nervous system, the limbic system, doing this kind of work, and honestly having this appreciation for life that I have, because at one point I wasn't able to leave my house. I wasn't able to have guests over because of mold. So there is some mold here. When I was really going through it, I would never in a million years think that I would ever move into a place without testing it. I wouldn't even go into a place without testing it. And so I'm not here like long term. Like the longest I would or could even stay in this place would be a year, but I don't even know that I would stay that long. I love it, and I'm working with my nervous system right now to not panic and to not like have that feeling of run away, run away, run away, which is so common for those who go through this kind of thing, mold, but it can be with anything, with any, you know, fight or flight issue, that flight response of wanting to run, run, run. And so I was just sitting when I first woke up with puffy eyes, and I was like, I'm not running from this. I'm not freaking out about this. I'm not running from this. I also had the most stressful, and I'll get into it, the most stressful travel experience that I've ever had. I had to try and clean my glamping tent, which was moldy, and that caused a reaction in my body, and I hadn't had a reaction for a long time. And so I regulated it within the same day with my brainer training, which I have 21 days to regulate if you want to do my method of brainer training, and how I was able to start traveling the world full time, but also what I do in these moments. And so when I first arrived the second night and I woke up with puffy eyes, I was like, okay, there was some mold, like a tiny bit in the bathtub, and I had sprayed it with like a conventional mold spray because that my like inner rebel was just like, it's fine. Arlo, can you not chew on that leaf right now? and then yeah, I was like, okay, I'm gonna run the ozone. I want to do a video too of showing you guys like all the things that I packed, because it's not like your normal things. That it was mostly machines and things that align with my lifestyle and my health routine rather than clothes. And so it's a bit extra, but I'm so grateful that that's how I decided to pack my life down into 2 suitcases, because I have my ozone machine. So I ran the ozone. This morning I didn't wake up puffy. Right before this video, I found in my closet, I have an area where I'm putting all my camera gear. So I just got my camera out and I saw like a little bit more of mold. Didn't freak out. sprayed it, ran the ozone this time rather than just like wiping it without the ozone. So I sprayed ozone, left, and then wiped it, and then ran the ozone again just to clear anything in the air. So I feel a little bit, but before this I was just working with my nervous system. I started tapping, and right away, like at the first tapping point that I started on, sometimes I start here, sometimes I start on the top. Arlo. Yeah, so I usually start up here, but then for some reason I've been doing this recently, this point first, and the second I did it, I started yawning, which is your parasympathetic kicking in, and so my nervous system was like, oh, okay, I'm not in danger. So I just wanted to share that because I feel like that will resonate with somebody, and it's just huge for me that I'm in this position right now where I'm like, I'm not freaking out. This is fine. This is normal. People are in these environments and they don't have issues. And so 1/4 of the population, and this is not what the video is about, but for some reason we're here. 1/4 of the population has a genetic makeup with the HLA-DR gene where if you're in an environment with biotoxins, like mycotoxins from mold, then you have the potential of igniting this condition called chronic inflammatory response syndrome. So that means, in basic terms, 1/4 of the population cannot live in mold, and the other 3/4 can. That's why, like when I was working on a yacht, my coworker was losing weight, doing great, the best he's ever been. We were running together, eating the same things. And then I gained 20 pounds in a month, and I was feeling like absolute death, very disoriented when I woke up. And I was just like losing my mind, really. I was having a lot of neurological symptoms, a lot of those. And so that is because of those two genetic differences. But I think, I've never read the book Dirty Genes, but I know that it kind of covers the topic, I believe, and I already know this from other discussions as well. Your genes have the ability to be turned on and off. Like you can turn on gene expressions and off. And what I really deep down know is that we are infinite beings having a human experience. And so when I first went through this mold experience, I don't know, years ago, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, but really my whole life, I can see my whole life how I was having reactions. At that time, I knew about this information. I even knew that about dirty genes, all this stuff, gene expressions, but I lost touch with how that is my primary thing. Like that is my primary lens on life. Now I'm like, okay, I'm an infinite being having a human experience. I can choose with my free will, with my mind, with my attention, that I don't have this gene expression turned on. Even if I do have the HLA-DR gene, I get to choose how I respond in these environments. I get to choose how things affect me. I get to choose how I'm able to detox and how I'm able to, thrive in these environments. And I also, I accept what my body needs. I take care of my body. I'm not going to like put my body in unsafe environments, but I will, prioritize the diet and everything that I need for this. At the same time, I will choose to know and believe that I am more powerful than, oh, this is just your genetic makeup. Oh, this is just how it is. So I think that is that. I love my house. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. It's perfect. The sound bathroom is amazing. I can't wait to start doing some sound baths in there, but they did break most of my sound bowls at the airport. So let's navigate getting into that. So when I was in Ireland, if you don't know, I was stranded on the island of Ireland for 5 months, literally stranded, and it was such an interesting experience. Like, of course, there were ways to get off, but there was always a sacrifice. There was always something. And so I came with my camper van, and as soon as I got to the ferry in France, the van broke down, and I towed it onto the ferry. That's what felt right. I was like, okay, universe brought me all the way to the ferry in France from Italy. I broke down at the ferry, pretty much. I was like, I'm meant to get on this ferry. It's not that I'm meant to stay here in France, because I just know how this is gonna go. I'm gonna sleep in the parking lot of the mechanics, and I'm gonna, this could take weeks, and I could just be out here not knowing anybody. I should get to Ireland where I at least have some family. So then that ended up being 5 months of no one knowing how to fix the van and living most of the time on my family farm alone in a hay barn and coming up with Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis, which once I had that download, because as soon as I arrived to Ireland, it's sprinkling a bit, but we're just gonna keep going. As soon as I arrived to Ireland, I came across the topic of the void, and I had heard about it before, but it never resonated as much as it did then. And so many of you were going through the void at the same time. So we were talking a lot about the void. And so oftentimes in quantum manifestation, it's you choose with your free will. And then there's like the crumble and the chaos. And then you get thrown into the void. And the void is the part right before the manifestation. And so while I was in the void, I was like, I know that something's going to come out of this. And then I got the download of Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis, the method that I teach in Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis. The method is called Nove. If you want to follow along Nove, it's linked below. It's just an Instagram account so far, but that will have updates soon about the app that is coming with this specific subconscious reprogramming method. I'm so excited about it. And Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis, if you haven't signed up, it is such a powerful tool. As soon, it's linked below as well, still $29. I think it's a great time right now with the energies being so powerful. December 4th, I told you guys, December 4th was a powerful download coming to Earth, 3i Atlas, sunflares, all these different things. That was my first day here in Portugal because of some things that we'll get into. I was supposed to be here a little bit earlier, but when I realized that, I was like, oh, December 19th is also another one. So the energy is very magnetized right now. And I really think that this is like the best time that we can start doing this work, this subconscious reprogramming, choosing with our free will, manifestation, getting clear on what we want. People have messaged me, a lot of people actually have messaged me, writing their script, saying that without even listening, they've just started writing their script and like getting clear. Like my aunt was asking like if she should do it. I've never had more friends and family join a program of mine. But my aunt was like, wow, I haven't even really thought about what I want out of life in so long. Like that'll be really powerful. And so yeah, people started thinking about what they want, choosing it by writing it down, and then all the process of manifestation started happening. The technology glitches, which I talked about in the program, and as soon as I launched the program, my pillar specifically had a major glitch, and they were like, this hasn't been happening with anyone else. So we glitched the whole system. Pillar is the course platform that I use. And so anyway, I think that getting clear on what you want right now is very, 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 very powerful, especially with this new year coming, the year of the horse. Like it's just the end of a 9-year cycle. A lot is happening. The timeline split is happening. Like all this is happening right now, like literally right now. I think the reason why we came to Earth as light workers, as these beings that are here to bring the truth, grid workers, whatever you want to call yourself, whatever feels true to you, this is the moment right now. So I think that even if you've done this work before, it could never be a better time than right now. And that's been my download for 2 years. There's never been a better time than now. And I never really understood it till now. And so really getting clear on what you want is so important right now. So linked below, Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis. So I started doing my Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis while I was in the void. Immediately, things started shifting. My appearance, my energy, all these things. And it was like, at first I was like, oh, I'm going back to Italy. Like, here's a baby horse. It's getting me out of Italy or out of Ireland, because I was getting comfortable in the discomfort. Looking back, I'm like, how? Because my van was almost fixed at that point, and I was telling my family, I was like, maybe I'll just stay here on the farm in the hay barn. Like, it's all working out. It's fine. Like, and that was my subconscious being like, this is comfortable and familiar. But once I left and looked back and like was packing up the tent and everything, I was like, how did I live here for so long? It was muddy, it was like cold, and I was just sitting with the heated blanket all day, every day. But I was just in the zone. I was in the void, and I was focusing on the good. And so looking back, I'm like, wow, thank God I didn't stay. But when I was in that, I was like, maybe I'll stay. And then universe was like, here's a baby horse that was a gift in Italy. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to Italy. And then the baby horse no longer was going to be a gift because the owner decided to keep him. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm not going to Italy. Maybe I'll stay here. And then I got a message, and it was from a family member, and it was pretty much like, it was time to go. Like the farm, we couldn't have anybody staying on the farm in Ireland anymore. And so I was like, okay, well then where am I going? Do I go back to Italy still? And that's when I started getting the download for Portugal. And Portugal was not even on my radar before starting Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis, before like doing this work and just like coming out of the void. And then it's made so much sense. I'm like, how did I not see it 2 years ago when I arrived to Portugal? So I was here 2 years ago when I first arrived to Europe. Like I arrived to Europe, spent a month and a half in Italy, month and a half in Switzerland, like a month in France, and then I got my van in France and I went down to Portugal here for a month. When I was here, I think because I was like so focused on the van and everything, it also wasn't my time yet. I liked it, but I think I was also comparing it to everything to California, and I was looking for a place to live, but because of the van and the chaos and all this stuff, and it wasn't the right time, and I was comparing it to California, which nothing is ever going to be California. It's its own place. It wasn't the right time, but now that I'm here, I'm like, wow, this is it. This is what I've been looking for. Like, I've been looking for a place with like healthy, gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free treats, just because I like that. And like matchas and yoga and breath work and like-minded people. And the surf, even though I don't surf because I just, the sharks, I just can't do it. But I really identify with the surfer vibe. I love surfers. And California, I realize, is like, that's part of the reason why I like it, is because it's that laid back surfer vibe. And so it just feels right. The whole time I was on my way here, I could hear Portugal, the land of Portugal, speaking to me and saying, welcome home, welcome home, welcome home. And we're almost to like the heart of the topic of this video. There's many lessons here, I'm sure, but this was so interesting. So when I finally decided on how to get off the island, it came to the point where I was waiting on somebody who was helping me fix the van. Like, he had contacts. He was the person I was gonna buy a car from, like probably 3 months into Ireland. I was gonna buy a car from him, and then I just randomly found his car on Facebook Marketplace, and then he ended up being like, you know, a contact. He was like, hey, did you get the van fixed? Did you get a car? Like, how can I help? And he really just got invested in like the whole storyline. So after the mechanic that took my van in, I did some work on the van, and then I called a mechanic, and he was like, yes, it's the release bearing, no problem, we'll get it done in 24 hours. I was like, yes, I'm going to Italy, it's gonna be fixed. And then it wasn't. And so then I messaged him, and he was like, here's a mechanic who specializes in gearboxes, he can help you, he says he can do it. And that was dragged out for like another month, maybe we'll say. And so I was waiting because I was like, I want to get the van fixed. Like, that was the choice that seemed the best to me, because if I got the van fixed, that meant I could keep everything, and I could, yeah, there's some things that are going to come through that I haven't told you guys yet, but I wanted to bring all my things, like the glamping tent and everything. I wanted to bring it here. I had at that point decided on Portugal, but I wanted all my stuff. And I've already given up my stuff so many times in life. It feels like when I went through the mold move, and that was something I was going to say earlier, I wrote a book on like doing the mold move, but I took it down because it was very much just in that like 3D mindset of like, these are mycotoxins, this is how you clean mold, and this is how you know, what you keep and what you don't keep, and how you test your body. And like, I think it's valuable information, but I would rather teach on the topic with this other, more quantum perspective, I guess. And so maybe one day I will. So if you're someone struggling with mold, or you think that this would be valuable, let me know in the comments if it's something that I should invest my time in, is like teaching on the topic of mold again. I just moved away from it for a while because I just didn't want it to be my story anymore. I didn't even want to think about mold for a while. But anyway, I got rid of all my stuff. My ex and I, we got rid of everything. And then we moved into a new place, and then mold started going through the walls again. So then we got rid of everything again, like everything. Whatever we kept, we soaked all of our electronics in the bathtub. Like, we ruined a lot. We just were so in survival mode. We were just like throwing it all in the solution that we made. And so then when I moved to Europe, I got rid of, 95% of my things as well, 99% of my things as well. I just came here with 2 suitcases and a small suitcase. And then I was like, it didn't even seem like an option to do that again. Like, I've acquired some things since being in Europe for 2 years. I was like, I don't want to fly because that means I have to probably give up so many things, and I just didn't want to go through that again. But then I was like, I finally reached the point when the van was being so prolonged that, you know, that didn't seem like an option. Buying a car didn't seem like an option because, like, if you have gone through this, especially on Instagram, a lot of people have been messaging me about this. Like, it's very, Ireland is the most difficult out of all of the European countries from what I've seen in research. They're the most difficult country to insure a car as a foreigner. And so because I didn't have an Irish driver's license or 5 years of driving experience in Ireland, no one would insure me pretty much. If one company was going to insure me, but it was double the cost for 1 year of insurance of the car, I was like, I don't want to pay 3 times the amount of the car just to drive to to Portugal and keep my stuff. So then it left me with the decision to, you know, I was still in either car or fly, and I went to go see my van to pack some things, to grab some things. No, I think I decided on flying, and I was gonna fix the van with the guy whenever he got back to me, the gearbox guy. And I got to the van to pack some things, and the van was moldy. So much mold in the past month. My things, like, everything was covered in mold. A lot of things were covered in mold, like my favorite bags, and just, it was so sad. And then I started, like, packing some things. I'm like, it's fine, it's fine. And then there was rat poop all over the van. My clothes were chewed through. Like, a lot of my favorite clothes were chewed through, and, like, it was wet and damp in there. And then I was just like, I can't do this. I was like, wow, I cannot do it with this van anymore. Like, this is not worth, and none of this is worth my time or my energy or anything. And so in that moment, I grabbed a few things, and then I told my family friend who drove me there that I want to come back the next day. And I brought a bunch of trash bags the next day, and I grabbed everything. I took everything out of there, mostly everything. I left some things in there, like tools and whatnot, if someone does buy it as it is. Because as I was packing everything and I was getting everything out, there was someone that came up, and it was the owner of the shop, the mechanic shop. And so he was like, oh, maybe I'll buy it, maybe this guy will buy it, blah, 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 just like for a very low amount. And I was like, I'm just ready to get rid of it. I'm not going to fix it. I'm not going to drive it. I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm like, if someone can buy it as it is, and that is it, like, for a very low amount. And so it was just, as I made that decision, and then this random person walks up and they're like, I know who can buy it. It was perfect. And so that's kind of how that decision happened, to fly and to give up a lot of my stuff. So for the next few days, I just was deciding on, like, what I would pack into 2 suitcases again. And the rest of it, like, some clothes that were not chewed through, I was able to wash in, like, white vinegar and whatnot, and put into storage at my family friend's house. But most of my, like, bigger things, like my couch and things like that, and the mattress and all these things, like bigger things that I obviously was not going to keep anymore. The tent was moldy, and so my family friends, they were fine with that, and they decided to keep the couch. It was perfect. They wanted this little couch to go in this little nook, and it actually worked out perfectly there. And they were so helpful to me. And so I gave them the mattress, I gave them so many different things, and then the rest of the things I just pretty much let go, except for a few bags again of clothes. Done. I was like, okay, my suitcases, packed it all down, and, like, brought the important things, like the ozone machine and all the other things that I'll tell you guys about. And I was like, I'll just replace the rest. I was like, abundance mindset. Tap back into the abundance mindset. Like, this is flying is the easiest thing. If I bought the car, even if I decided to buy the car, there was the potential that I break down on the way down to Portugal, and my nervous system could not handle that again. Like, breaking down with my animals and in foreign land and having to navigate that again, I just couldn't. So I was like, flying is the best thing for me and my animals, even if Aslan was going to be stressed because he doesn't like the crate, but he's fine. And so then we get to the airport after, like, a week of, and this is why I took some time off of YouTube, is because I had to move through this and to navigate this and to you know, in a way, in a few ways, I felt like I lost myself for a while because it was just like, it was tough. It was very tough, but I learned something really valuable that we're going to get to soon. And so for a week, I go through this whole process with the airline KLM. They were the only one, KLM and Air France were the only ones that would take a large breed, a dog that's over 45 kilos. And so I booked with KLM. They had a flight with a layover, but it got to Portugal. And so I was messaging the customer service for a while, and we were going back and forth. I was like, okay, my dogs and my cat are approved now, and then they would be like, no, this one's not approved now because of the crate and this and that and this and that. And so then after like buying 2 different crates for Duchess, getting a giant crate for Aslan, making sure that Aslan's was in the right dimensions and everything for the airline, everyone was approved. Customer service told me like 3 or 4 days before the flight, everyone's approved. Your baggages are all approved. I had the special baggage of my sound baths, my sound bowls, and then got to the airport. Well, the night before, I saw that my animals were denied because that wasn't showing, like it wasn't showing approved or denied online, and then the night before it said denied. And so then I got to the airport, and then they made me pay for Duchess twice. So I was like, whatever, I don't care at this point. Like, I pay for her, another 200 euro for her, and then we were all good to go. That was everything. And Aslan's crate was approved, got onto the flight, and then we're about to take off. I'm like taking photos, sending it to friends and family, like, we're on our way to Portugal, woo! And then the flight attendant and the girl who was like checking me in walk up to me while I'm in my seat, and they told me that Aslan's crate, your dog's crate, will not fit on the plane, and pretty much they were kicking me off the plane. And I just had a crash out. I had a meltdown. I was like, what? You guys approved his crate so long ago. It's the dimensions on your website. I was just like, I just started sobbing because 5 months of being stranded on an island and then being on the airplane, having the celebration, like I was like, oh my gosh, there's no turning back. We're about to take off in the air and head to Portugal. And then yeah, so I started crying, and I was like, you're just kicking me off the plane? And they're like, well, yeah, sorry. And so then I walked off, probably looking like a convict, like I don't know, like a drug smuggler, or I don't know, like what people were thinking. Usually I wouldn't care, but because I was just so, you know, I was just like, wow, this is humiliating. And so I was walking off, and it was funny and it was sweet. Like the flight attendant at the front, who was maybe the purser, she was like, oh my gosh, and she got like a napkin and she was wiping my tears because my hands were full. And the other one who had to kick me off, he's like, I'm so sorry, I wish there was something I could do, I'll pray for you. And I was just like, thank you. And then I haven't had a panic attack in a very long time, very, very long time, but I just sat down, and it makes me sad thinking about, because I've mostly decompressed from it, but it was intense. So I sat down with the person who was carrying one of my bags, and we were waiting for directions, I guess, on what to do next. And I started hyperventilating on the ground in this hallway. And then he was like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, let's go. And then we started walking to like the baggage claim area, and there's a bug on here. And then at the baggage claim area, like it just took so long, and I just like collapsed. I just couldn't walk anymore, and I was hyperventilating again on the ground. And yeah, the panic attack, like if you've ever had one, it just takes over your body, and like sometimes you forget how to breathe. So that's what was happening. So then I got myself together. I regulated, and I sat down on the bench waiting for my bags, waiting for my animals. And then this lady came over from agriculture, and she was like, are you okay? And I told her everything, and she was so sweet. She ended up trading crates with me. So she took me over to her area. Her job is like to scan the microchips of the dogs and cats. and she called the vet in the airport, and she said, we need to switch crates with this lady because her crate's too big. Let's give her like the extra large that we have. And so it's tight for Aslan, but it worked. And so I originally didn't buy that size because it seemed too tight, and they don't want the dog's head touching. That's like one of the things. So I went through this whole thing. I was like, I can't get this crate when I was at the pet store. So then I, found somebody on pretty much like their Craigslist. If you're American, it's called Done Deal. And we drove like however long to go get this extra large crate so that Aslan's head wouldn't touch. And even in that, it kind of did touch, but it was much better than the extra large. But they didn't check and they didn't care. So I was like, whatever, I guess like he'll just have to squeeze a little bit because we have to get off this damn island. I love Ireland. I'm Irish, but I just had to get us off. And so she switched with me, and then we got to the airline check-in again. Waited like hours as they were trying to call customer service and everything. Customer service wanted to charge me again for another flight and all my animals and everything, even though they already charged me like double for Duchess and all these things. And it was within their limits of the crate, and they approved it and everything. And so then they made me call them as I was sitting there, and I was just like, this airline, like, this is wild. And so then they finally got me on a flight, and the flight was that evening. And so I was like, okay, that's fine. Like, it was early in the morning. We woke up at 3 a.m. and like my family friends had borrowed a van. No, we're not going to do that right now. My family friends had borrowed a van because the crate was so big, like a big giant Sprinter van, and we sat in the back. And so I was like, thank God we don't have to do that again. Like, we'll just wait here. And so I checked in, I paid for my bags to be held somewhere, and we went to a patch of grass, and I had Duchess with me. I tied Duchess's leash and her harness to the crate because she's too small to carry the crate, and so she was like able to go in and out in the sunshine and in the grass. And then the dogs and I, walked a circle around her for 2 hours so I could tire them out, get them to go potty and everything. The cops, like some police officers, walked by a few times because it was like still in the airport, and they were like side-eyeing me to like see if I was crazy or not. But I was like, this is just what I have to do to like take care of my animals in this situation. So we walked in circles. I was like, this is meditative, I guess. And then everyone was tired. We went to go check in, and customer service I had done this in front of the supervisor of the airline when we were getting approved for this flight. I asked them 3 or 4 times. I was like, are you sure my animals are approved? Yes. Are you sure? Are you 100% positive? Yes. And the guy was like, really? Kind of like looking at me like, why do you have to do that? And then we go to check in, and they had said that the aircraft doesn't even take animals in the hold. And so I was like, wow, there's some kind of disconnect in the KLM customer service and like the actual airport and the people working at the airport. The people at the airport were very, very kind, and even the people in customer service were very kind, but like it felt like I was in a bad dream. At that point, I've never actually done this, but I literally thought I was just having a bad dream. I was like, how? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, the crate just doesn't fit on the plane, even though it's the right crate. And like, they told me 100% yes, you're approved. And then I wait all day, and then the aircraft doesn't take pets. I was like, what on earth? And so then I called my family friends, and the airport had agreed to hold the crate at least, so we didn't have to like do the whole van thing again. They picked me up. So I arrived there at like 4 a.m., left there at 8 p.m. And I couldn't go get food or water or anything because I had all my bags at certain points. And like, so I was exhausted. I was dehydrated. I was all these things, dysregulated. And my animals were at least fine. Like, they were such angels that whole time, and just like really friendly and like happy to see people again, and like tired. And so that was all good. And yeah, when we were driving back, we had to then go wait for one of my family friends. She was getting done with work, so we didn't get back until like 11 p.m., maybe like 10 or 11. And on that drive, I was just thinking to myself, like, really, what is this? Like, what is this about? It really felt like Ireland was holding me captive, like not letting me go because nothing made sense. Like, that just doesn't happen from what I know and what I felt. I was like, it's beyond just like the 3D of like, oh, it doesn't fit on the aircraft. Like, there was something energetic that made all that happen. And so I was like, what is this? And there were a few things that came up. And so the first thing was that there was like some stuff, or look, go over there, come on. There was some stuff with like ancestors. And so there were my ancestors, and I could feel like while I was there, it was all good vibes. It was all that. And they were like happy that I was there working with me, probably helping me, you know, having me heal lineages and stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, fine. But then I think what I was seeing and feeling was that there was also like energies that were maybe had some like beef with my ancestors. And so it almost felt like I was like payment for that unresolved stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff, like the castle on my family land, like people died over it. Like, there was like wars over it and whatnot. And so, like, little tiny wars, but you know, people were slaughtered because of it. And so part of what I was feeling was like, oh, I was like being held in that way. And then another thing that was coming through that this felt like the most significant was that I was Ireland, like the consciousness of Ireland was like, you have to, and my guides were saying this too, like you have to choose to receive the download, and from Ireland. And so in that, on the drive, I was like, okay, I choose to receive the download that is for my highest good from Ireland. Any downloads, any codes, any upgrades from Ireland that are for my highest good. Thank you, and so it is. And I felt a huge release from that. So maybe if you're being held in a situation right now, I think a lot of you guys are grid workers, and like wherever you are, like if you're really wanting to, even if it's just like a job or a relationship or like a dynamic, and you're not really like looking to travel, maybe some of you are looking to travel or move somewhere, or like start a new life somewhere. If you're feeling kind of like locked to a certain area, and like I'm getting chills now thinking about this, maybe ask to, and just always put for your highest good, so it's like there's no harm in it, but you can say like, I choose to receive any downloads and upgrades that I meant to receive from this area or this situation that are for my highest good. Thank you, and so it is. Someone can put that in the comments to help others. That would be very helpful. But when I did that, again, like huge release. And then the other thing that I really went deep into on the drive, I was like, I cut all cords of attachment with anything holding me in Ireland in this location. I choose to, you know, send all energies away that are not for my highest good, that are holding me back from going to Portugal, from moving on with my life. I choose to be fully in my sovereignty. I choose to call all of me back from anyone or anything or any place. Thank you, and so it is. And like, I was going through these like major steps of choosing to be back in my sovereignty and to call all of me back. Like, that's I talk about this often, but one of the most powerful things that you can do is to call all of you back to you, because so often when we're empathetic, we give a part of ourselves to others, and then they start like thriving with that, and we don't even realize that the reason they're getting more attractive or more vibrant or more abundant is because we are giving a part of our essence to them. So I called all of me back from Ireland, from people in Ireland, from everyone and everything ever in my entire existence. And I came back into my full sovereignty, cut all cords of attachment, sent away all energies, all entities. And I did this major, major clearing and received that upgrade. And then the next day, right, we do it again, 3 a.m., leave at 4 a.m., airport. It was so smooth. It was so smooth, even though like I was traumatized. Like, as the airplane's about to take off, I was just like waiting for them to take me off, but they didn't. And getting here was so smooth, like everything. The next day was like a brand new world. There was no chaos. There was no like weird distortions and like weird things just like that don't make sense, that are like in a way negative. There's no such thing as negative or positive, but like in a way negative, like the day before. Everything was perfect. Flight was perfect. when I arrived to Portugal, it doesn't sound perfect, but it was actually so perfect. 2 of my bags were missing. Like one was on the wrong flight, one was just like missing. They both ended up coming back, but so I had to go to the baggage claim. I didn't even care. I was like so happy. I got my animals. We were all together. And I was like, okay, 2 of my bags are missing. They're like, okay, they'll be driven to you tomorrow morning. I was like, that's fine, whatever. And then I got to my Uber, which like the Uber was so easy too. Like you put your flight number in and they just waited forever, like while I did all that. And then I said, okay, I'm here. And that was something I was kind of stressed about, was like, are they going to accept me with 3 animals? And the guy was completely fine. He was like so happy to see all the animals. He set up everything. He was like so friendly. The thing, which is just mind-blowing, I would not have fit in the Uber if I had all my bags. Like it was packed to the brim, and that was the XL that I had ordered. And there was going to be no way if I had all those bags. So it was like so divine that they had, you know, temporarily lost those 2 bags. And so then the next day, you know, I arrive here, everything's perfect. The most gorgeous sunset here. The dogs are like so happy to have the yard as soon as we arrive. It was just amazing. Like so amazing. Next day, bags arrive. Some of the sound bowls are broken. Whatever. I'm going to send a full thing to the airline tomorrow. I wanted to give some time to like decompress, but I'll hopefully get some, you know, compensation for that, because I was told that it would be really handled with care. It said fragile and all that. And so either way, I was like, I don't care. I'm here. I arrived. I got out of that like insane void and like spiritual war and like this energetic world that I was existing in, that I was aware of, but I didn't realize like how powerful and how important it was to pay attention to it, and to really pay attention to listening to my divine team, receiving the downloads, like the messages. The message was, you have to ask for the download from Ireland, like the upgrade from Ireland. Like you have to do that. We've been holding you here. This is what my team was saying. We've been holding you here partially because you have to receive this before you leave. So being a grid worker, you're assisting with my understanding and what I feel, you're assisting with that area. So like, I don't even think that it was just about like the beef with my ancestors and everything. Like I think that I love Ireland, but the Ireland and UK, like there's a lot of density there. There's a lot of energy. All over the world there is, but like I feel, and maybe it's just because it's part of my path and my lineage, but I feel a lot of heaviness there. Especially right now, like even in this current timeline, there's a lot of heaviness right now. But like underneath it, on a spiritual realm, and like all the things that happen there over time, there's a lot. And so I was being called there, I think, to plant some seeds, to do some grid work, to bring light into that area, and to help in this timeline split and the shift in this new earth for that area. A lot of people I know have been called to do that there as well, whether they know it or not. We'll get these calls to go to certain places. Oftentimes it's because your energy is needed there. And then that part where it was like receiving that download and that upgrade from Ireland, part of my like ego was like, why do I have to receive? Like I was meant to like do the seed plant there. I think what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling about that is that like for my own personal journey, yes, I was meant to receive something from Ireland and from that experience as well, not just Ireland, but like from that whole energetic experience. But also it's still grid work to receive the download and the upgrade, because then like me coming here, it's like a grid, you know, like you are moving around the world, or you're moving around your area that you're in, or the places where you're putting your energy, and it's all connected. And so I was maybe meant to receive something from Ireland to bring it here and plant here, or it's for my own journey. I don't know. I haven't gone that deep. But as soon as I did that, I was like set free. And yeah, just being here now in Portugal, I have chills, and it's kind of hard to find words to explain it, but I've been trying, not even just trying, but I've been moving through the process of tapping back into the version of me who has all those dreams, right? All the things that I put in my dream life sleep hypnosis, but also the frequency that I have carried for so long that I almost felt like it was, in a way, hard to embrace and know and carry and embody when I was in Ireland, because I was in isolation, pretty much, like full isolation, other than two people who would help me and like drive me places and whatnot. And so I wasn't the Araya mentee that I know that I am, and with all the dreams and the visions and the goals and the everything that I know about my existence here on Earth. I wasn't fully that. I was in little bits, especially like when I was just walking through the fields of my family land. But like in the past few weeks, when I was like fully in like get off the island mode, I didn't have much time to like tap into being that frequency that I know so clearly, usually. So the past few days as I've been here, I've been exploring, and my throat's getting dry because I've been talking for so long now, it seems. But I really wanted to like walk you through all of that and give you guys a full update. I've been exploring, and I will, you know, if you follow me on Instagram, that's the best place to see like little updates throughout the day on my story, especially. I've been walking the beaches, going to all the local restaurants, like trying all the different things, all the healthy, the camera died. So anyway, I've just been walking around, trying all the healthy food places, having acai bowls and matchas and healthy banana breads, lots of banana bread here, and getting to know the whole place, getting to get familiar with like where I think I'll meet people. I have been meeting people here and there, and just everyone's been so friendly and just like really, I don't know, there's some kind of magic here. Like the way that people look at me, they just like really see me, and like I don't know, I just really am so happy to be here. I feel so aligned with being here. There's nowhere else I'd rather be right now. I'm so glad that I was redirected. I love Italy. I love the farm and the animals, but this is where I'm meant to be right now. So, yes. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you so much for your support and your love. It means the absolute world. If you want to join Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis, it is linked below. If you want to join my Patreon, now that I'm settled and everything, I'm going to be more active on there. My Substack as well, I'm going to do a few articles this week to catch up on there. And then any of my other programs, my 21-day programs, my 12-week program, Decondition, that is all linked below. Instagram is also just Araya Mentee, TikTok as well. Instagram's where my story updates are most active, of like the beaches and like the nice foods and everything. Photos of my doggies and Duchess. And so, yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. And I think that's all I have for you today. I feel like this was like 45 minutes. I don't know. We'll see. All right, guys. Bye.